Before we get into today's episode, I wanted to take a second to talk about one of my favorite brands right now. You guys know I don't give bad recommendations, so I really want to introduce you guys to my friends over at Bryght. They are an anal bleaching company, but their products work head to toe. They do in treatments as well as take home products that literally show instant results. Guys, I did not believe it myself until I went to a show and they did a trial on my hand. And I'm not kidding. My hand was lighter within 2 to 3 minutes. Swear. The company is not only women owned, but the really cool thing about this product is that it is all natural ingredients and can be used on all Fitzpatricks. So if you are an esthetician that's looking to add something to your space that not only helps to lighten your skin, but makes you crazy money, their treatments roughly cost $3.40 for you to use, but you can charge anywhere from $50 to $290 per treatment, which is like an insane ROI. So I could not keep this to myself. I love the brand. I love what they stand for. And what's really cool is that they're fans of the podcast. So they gave me a code exclusively for you guys. And they told me before they gave it to me, they do not give codes out. So I felt really special. So you can save 10% on the link below using the code TWP, which obviously stands for the Waxing Podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to the brand, and I am excited to welcome you to the Bryght family. Hey everybody, welcome to the Waxing Podcast. I am your host, Kirsten, and I am so excited to bring on our next guest, which is Jamie Long. Jamie, I feel like I have to say like your full name. Does everybody do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. And I'm so used to it now that if someone just says Jamie, I'm like, are they talking to me?
Yeah.
Is it me or is it a different Jamie? Like, I'm just so used to it now.
I know. I've literally introduced you to everybody I know as Jamie Long. Like, I don't introduce you by Jamie. Jamie is amazing. I met him. Well, I've known you before I met you because I was literally fangirling over you in October of last year. But I've been following Jamie on Instagram for a very long time. But he is a brow artist and he is amazing. He was in Denver in October when I got to meet you in person. And I was really excited because I was there for your Instagram milestone of 10K.
I know. And I'm still only at 10.4.
Yeah, well,
and that was October.
You know what? I have actually had a really slow growth year too, compared to like, I feel like the pandemic was where, and tell me if you were the same, but I feel like the pandemic was where I saw the most growth happen at once. And I think most people were just at home on their phones looking for people to follow.
Yeah. But it was also, I find, the hardest time to try and come up with engaging new content to get people to like, follow, and share. Because, like, for me, I couldn't do brows. I was just at home, and there's only so many times people want to watch me do my own brows. So I was like, what can I do? But,
I know, but your brows would be actually really fun to watch because something that's really a fun fact about you, I don't know if, you know, people listening just through audio versus video, but you have distinctly different colored brows, which are natural.
Yeah. Yeah. So my brows, it's the same on my lashes. And a little, you can't really tell, but on my beard as well. So this side is just lighter. So my left-hand side is just naturally lighter. So on my baby pictures, I look like I have one eyebrow because one's really dark. And then the left side is just so fair that it's non-existent.
Does anybody else in your family have that? Is that just you?
Just me.
Yeah, which is like so cool. Like I feel like anybody, especially in this industry, I'm sure you get asked a lot if you were doing that purposefully.
So many times. People are like, are you trying to make this a trend? And I'm like, no, this is just me. It's just how they are. But yeah, people think I bleached like one side. I'm like, no.
And then people lay down, they're like, okay, so I know you're not trying to make this a trend, but can you bleach one of my brows?
Yeah.
So, Jamie, we are going to get into a lot of really fun things with you. I have, for a very long time, wanted you on the podcast for selfish reasons, but really, truly, I have followed you for so long, and I don't know, like, your backstory and how you became a brow artist, and also how you work and teach for one of the biggest brands in our industry. And then, of course, we're going to talk about your podcast, because if people are not listening to your podcast, it is a must. So, with that being said, let's get into really what started, the aesthetics journey for you.
So for me, it's quite a different way to get into the industry. So leaving school, like here in the UK, you can go to college and you can do like beauty therapy, it's called here, and you can learn waxing, and you have to cover all aspects of beauty. Now, I never did that. When I was growing up, I had no idea what I wanted to do or be in life. I just kind of went through life each day as it came. And then I got a job with HD Brows, who I still currently work for. And this was 9 years ago. And I was in their sales department, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And they know I hated it. I just cannot sell. I'm just not a born seller. So we were kind of having meetings, and they were like, how would you feel joining the training team? Have you ever considered a career in the beauty industry? And I was like, never. It's never crossed my mind to venture into that industry. But I was like, let's try it. I'm just taking each day as it comes. So yeah, let's try it. So I did 6 months intense training with HD Brows. And that was just learning how to actually do the HD Brows treatment. Once I then kind of mastered this, I went on to do my teaching qualification and slowly kind of gained my way into the educational side. And then about a year later, that's when I started kind of teaching classes. And that's my kind of journey into the industry.
At what point do you feel like, were you excited, or like you were like, okay, this seems like a path that I like? Because I mean, being in sales, you were like, no.
Yeah, 100%. I was just like, I've not sold anything this month. We both know this this isn't working. But I was just very open to try it. Like, I'm very open to trying new things and just in life in general. And then it was with doing the treatment, it was seeing the transformations that you could create, and in some cases, the confidence that you can give people from a brow service or treatment. Like, it's still so wild to me. Like, people will come in, they'll have a treatment done, and if I've been able to create a brow from nothing, like, for that client, their life is changed and they become a lifelong client, because they are like, I've never been able to achieve this. It's something I've always wanted. So you get to give them that like confidence and just be able to go out there and just feel good.
Well, and because you've gained the skill for so long, but then also I feel like you have to have the passion too, and like the want and the will to actually make them have this experience with you. It comes in, I think, a full circle moment. Yeah.
And then I can remember thinking, wow, like, I'm now passing what I know onto other people. And in this industry, it can be a lot of, if you're good at something, you want to keep it to yourself because they're your secrets. This is what you built your career and, your business on. But I'm like, you can teach and help other people to be successful, and you're not losing out by doing that. You're not doing yourself any damage.
I know. One of like my favorite things in this industry is that exact thing. I think that we are emerging in such a different world of beauty industry people, where we're understanding that new thing, where it's like you could teach somebody down the street your same exact technique, but it does not equal that person gaining anything that you already have. Like, you guys can both do the same exact thing and attract completely different paying customers.
Yeah. 100%.
So 9 years for HD, and you did sales for how long? You said a very short period.
I would say less than 6 months.
So you've been training for a really long time. Okay, so you did not typically do like the aesthetics school to job way you went a little bit like backwards. So how does that work? Do you have your license? Did you get it through HD? Like how did all of that connect?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's slightly different here in the UK, but you have to get the qualification to do treatments. So if you go to like our beauty college or school, you will get a qualification to do all aspects of beauty, because as a course, it will cover everything from waxing to lashes to brows to nails. I did it slightly differently by training with HD. So my qualification through HD as a beauty therapist, or I could only at that point do brows because that's all I had trained in and got the qualification certificate to do. And insurance providers wouldn't insure me for any other treatments. Since I've gone on to do like lash lift training, and they're the two treatments that I specialize in and offer now.
Yeah, that's really cool. So they just basically honored your training through a program. You didn't have to go through like their training. That's actually very cool.
And it's the same here in the UK. You can go to anybody who has got that training course that offers the certificate. You can go to them and then be able to get insurance. So when I teach for HD, we can have people from the police, solicitors, people from the army who just want a career change. They'll come and train and they'll get that qualification, and then they can start doing the treatments.
Okay, this is amazing. And I know so many people are listening being like, who is HD Brow Maybe? I feel like it's a pretty well known name, but who is HD and like what do they do?
So HD Brows, they started, I think it was back in 2008. And back in that point, especially in the UK, there was no other brow brand like it. You could get brow training, but there wasn't a brand that did everything from training and products. So HD had a full professional product range as well as retail. And that's what really kind of solidified it as the brow brand. But we offer HD Brows training, so that includes tinting, waxing, threading, tweezing, trimming, makeup application. We also do brow lamination, which is huge.
I know, I was going to say, how big is it in the UK right now? Like, is it just
like huge?
Like, do people not even really get, like, are people walking in being like, okay, brow waxes are out, lamination brow waxes are in?
Yeah. So I would say in the UK, like a brow tidy up, like a tint and wax, not many people get that done. It's either HD brows or a treatment that's similar, or brow lamination. And all my clients, I would say 90% plus have lamination, and they'll come 4 weeks after that for HD brows to freshen their brows up, and then they'll come back 4 weeks later and have brow lamination. It's just crazy how it's taken over the industry.
It is so crazy. Okay, so for somebody like myself who hasn't fully immersed myself in brow lamination yet, I literally have the products. I just haven't added it to my menu because I still have questions, right? So like you said 90% of your clientele are doing the lamination treatment and then doing the HD brow treatment. Do you feel like there is like a strict yes and no to who can do it and who cannot? Or do you feel like with like timing and processing, like everything is possible with anybody? Like that's like legit my question.
Yeah, so I think it comes down to consultation. Like consultation is key, and it's about having that understanding for what your client's wanting to achieve and being able to have that honest and open conversation with them and say, brow lamination isn't going to achieve that. You need something more like semi-permanent makeup. But a lot of my clients have brow lamination to make their brows look fuller, because obviously it's kind of flattening out and straightening out the hairs. And then a lot of them also like that. I think the UK is, they do take it a little bit wild with their...
No, I like love it. I love it.
Some people are like, there's brushed up and then there's electrocuted brushed up. Like, we need to calm them down a little bit. But yeah, it's just about that consultation. And again, it is down to your timing. You can do everything from that super flat, sleek lamination to a like baby lamination, I call it. So just like to correct the direction of growth, which if one brow at the bulb grows up and the other one grows across, we can correct that. So it's still lamination without going for that super textured, brushed up look.
I kind of love the name baby lamination or like corrective lamination. I think so often clients think of lamination and they just see like the electrocuted brows because that's what it looks like for the first 24 hours for them to settle. So clients are always coming to me being like, I don't want my brows to look like that. And I'm like, no. They like don't look like that. But at first, in order to place the brows where they need to go and to make sure that it stays, I say malleable, movable, it has to do that. And it's funny because so many of them, I wish like more lamination artists would show like, which would be really hard to do because you'd have to get the client to come in like a week later, but like show the brows once settled and you like what it looks like post lamination. So because so many clients are like, oh, I don't like those, and I'm like, no, you would like it, you just are looking at the day one. And then a lot of the time these clients will show you a picture of how they want their brows and it's somebody's brow lamination day 5. And I'm like, that's brow lamination. And they're like, no, it doesn't look like it. I was like, it is. It's just settled. I'm sure that you can talk mostly anybody into a lamination though, because it's like so many people end up looking amazing. Do you regularly laminate your brows?
My own? I am like the worst walk-in advertisement for myself.
It's okay. Most people are.
I don't tend to get the time to do them. And if I do have the time, it's the last thing that I want to do. But yeah, I don't really do anything to them. And my lighter brow, just for context, is the hair type is quite wiry, whereas the darker brow is more of your kind of average hair type. So to laminate them, I'm working on 2 different timings to try and get them to match in some ways. So it just ends up more effort than it's worth.
Okay, I probably asked you this back in October, and I think I like probably looked into your eyeball, but like, is your eye color lighter on one or the other, or are those the same?
No, they're the same,
It is the craziest thing. I don't think I have met a person. Now, I've met somebody who has like a gray patch in their brow, but that is like, that's pretty normal. I've never met anybody with it either. I think that's why so many people assume that I have bleached one brow. I'm just like, no. But it's even the texture and the density of hair, they're completely different. So many people that are listening to this audio are going to go, okay, shit, let me go find this. Let me go find the video form of this because I literally have to see it. So I'm like, you can check it out on YouTube. Okay, so obviously I met you when you came to America, which was such a cool opportunity. Everyone was obsessed with you. I literally felt like I was hanging out with a celebrity. I don't know if it's because we were at a conference that was like 98% women. And so you were just there, stunning, tall, like your hair was flowing in the wind. And like everyone was like, who the hell is this?
Oh, I can remember just being there and I was like, first of all, there hardly any men here. And I was like, secondly, I was like, I just felt so overdressed all weekend. But I don't know if it's just how we dress here or I don't know. But I was just like, I feel really overdressed. But then I think you can never be overdressed.
You can never be overdressed. And you know what? That's like a total welcome to America. Well, and Denver especially. I actually lived there for a year and it's like a little bit more casual, things like that. But we were like at events. And so, I mean, I think for the opening night and for just context reasons, we were at the Waxing the City conference in Denver in October of last year. So we like went to the opening ceremony night where it was like wear all orange and we were all like in these dresses and we were like, okay, like we were going to like a open ceremony and like everybody was wearing like hats with like confetti coming out of them with like suits, like, or not suits, but like sweatsuits on. And we were all sitting up there. We're like, we overdressed for this.
Yes.
100%.
And I think I was in all black. I think I found out when I had got there and landed that the first night was all orange. And I was like, I don't have anything
I know.
orange. And then I was like, I don't think I actually have anything at home that's orange. So it wouldn't have helped if I'd have known before, but I can remember just thinking, everybody is in orange but me.
I had to order something. I was like, I don't wear the color orange.
Yeah.
Like it's such a distinct, and I was like trying to figure out like they have like a certain color orange. So I was trying to
Yes.
like do my best, but yeah, every day I like try to incorporate orange and that stuff just sits in my closet collecting dust. So, yeah, but so I know that you got to come here to do that training, but tell me a little bit about like how, or I guess where you go for HD Brows. Do you travel often? What does your day-to-day job look like?
So traveling, other than when I met you in Denver, my traveling stays usually to the UK. So we have got, I think there's 7 academies now up and down the UK. I used to travel. I'm based kind of like in the centre of the UK, so I would travel up to Scotland, down to London, and all the academies in between. And it could be a masterclass, it could be a 2-day course, a refresher course. I don't do so much of that traveling around the UK now. I tend to focus more on the social side and the content creation. And we also have a group for everybody that's trained within HD Brows. We call it like our collective, where they can share their work for constructive criticism and feedback, and they can get tips and tricks. So I work a lot on building content to try and help people after they've trained, whether that's waxing tips or how to use a certain makeup product to get the best look. So yeah, that's what I tend to spend a lot of my time doing.
I think you've like weaved yourself into like every area of the
I know.
business.
I I think the only place I've not been is like finance.
Yeah, which no, thank you.
No.
You're like just like sales. I'm good. I know
Yeah.
that I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going
yeah.
to be able to do that. So, what's next? I mean, do you have like a plan like on a personal level or like a plan like with HD Brows to go further? Like I would love to know like the Jamie Long 5-year plan.
So I'm really bad because I don't have a 5-year plan.
I don't
But
either, but I just think it
yeah.
sounds good to say out
Yeah.
loud.
Um, so with HD, it's just continuing to kind of build and grow with the brand. The brand now is growing so kind of like worldwide. We are
Hmm.
launching like, well, not launching, we're already there in like so many places in like Europe and America, Australia. So it's crazy to think where the brand could be in 5 years
Yeah. Are
when.
you guys gonna plan on coming to any of like the US shows? You know, like IECSC is a really big one. I'm actually going this weekend to Las Vegas, but I could totally see you there.
I mean, a weekend in Las Vegas sounds good, so I might have to suggest
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I'm not sure what they've got planned. They've just launched a new website called Nuvo Beauty. So
Hmm.
it's a bit like a one-stop shop. So they have all of their own brands and they're adding new brands to it. And it's becoming like a really big distributor website for all things professional beauty. So I know that they're concentrating on that. But yeah, the brand HD Brows just continues to kind of grow and get bigger and bigger. And then for myself, so I've got my home salon set up. So
Hmm.
I'm super busy with that and clients. I've got the podcast. And then I think eventually I would like to kind of get a salon space. I think that would be the next like natural step for me. When that time is, I don't know, but I think it will happen. It's just when.
So let's talk about the podcast. I
Yes.
love anybody and everybody who starts a podcast in this industry. And you know what it kind of reminds me of? It's going back to the first part of our episode where you were talking about the fact that you train people and you don't gatekeep. You just share all of your secrets and things like that because you
Yeah.
know that there's enough room for everybody. That is like the exact way I feel when I think of beauty industry people starting podcasts. I'm like, there's
Yeah.
no such thing as somebody like coming in and stealing your shine and making the same episode. Even if you and I were like literally copying and pasting episodes and we were aligned on every single week we did the same exact episode, we would be saying different things.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me
Yeah.
about tell me about the podcast. Tell everyone listening what they can expect when they listen. It's so
the
cute. I'm
podcast-
obsessed with the name. Okay, go.
So the podcast is called What the Pluck. And it's with me and my co-host Harriet, who happens to be my best friend. She's also in the industry. She was basically born into the industry. All her family are in the industry. So there's almost two sides when we're having this discussion, because Harriet is very die-hard. All she knows is working in this industry, where I work in this industry, but I came into it backwards. And actually, when I see clients, it's only one day a week because I have my full-time job with HD.
I have the same story. I'm one day a week.
Yeah?
I only take clients.
Yeah. But we just share like the highs, the lows, the unpopular opinions, and we just don't filter anything. It is what it is. And we hope that people in the industry can listen, relate, and just laugh.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that we try to do, is just be a fun podcast. We're not trying to teach you how to do any treatment, how to use social media. We just want you to listen, relate, and just have fun.
Which is such a great, I feel like, podcast that's needed in the industry. So often we are like trying to just learn and grow and take it so serious because we want to be taken serious. But it's like, that is such a great outlet for people that just want to laugh about how ridiculous our industry is. Like, let's be honest. I always tell people, I'm like, when I'm feeling so stressed about this industry and like my job and my personal level, I like have to seriously stop and be like, girl, you are literally removing hair from the root of people's bodies. Like, you are not curing cancer. Let's realign, let's recenter. So hearing that and like the episodes and it just being funny is I think what people need for sure.
Yeah. And like we get like the listeners involved, and we do like an episode every series which is about horror stories in salon. Some of the horror stories, I am like, wow, these are crazy. But yeah, everyone just says it's funny, and I think because we're best friends who are hosting it, when we are funny, but I wouldn't be like, we're so funny, we're comedians. But all people feedback about the podcast is, you guys together are so funny. And
well, you have the chemistry.
Maybe we need to change the category. Yeah. Maybe we need to be like a comedy podcast rather than like a beauty podcast. But
I feel like you could definitely be either or. And I feel like so many people too, if you're just talking about like the funny of our industry, like I feel like there's so many more people than just the beauty industry that would want to listen to that.
Yeah.
You know, like I could see someone just thinking that that's hilarious, especially because being the client themselves, they're like, oh shit, I've done that.
Yeah. And I think here as well, we have a lot of people that work, home salons are huge in the UK. I don't know if it's the same there. But home salons post-COVID are huge. So a lot of people are working by themselves and they don't have a work colleague to... At the end of the day, you've had a difficult client. They don't have that person to be like, my last client was... I don't know if I can curse, but they were... an arsehole. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were such a nightmare. So, like, for us just to be there and talk about our experiences with nightmare clients or rude clients or people who just don't show up.
Yes.
You know,
oh my God.
People listen and relate and just think it's not just happening to me, and I'm working by myself. Like, there's other people out there in the industry that it's happening, you know, to as well.
No, for sure. Tell me a little, I mean, I'm just curious about a home studio. Like, what are the regulations in the UK? Does it have to be like a door leading into the room from the outside? Because I know the things here are like, not a lot of people do home.
Oh.
Yeah.
So here it's not as strict if you are doing something like waxing or like brows, lashes. If you're doing something that is more semi-permanent, microblading, semi-permanent makeup, face makeup, anything like that, then it's a little bit more, you've got a few more hoops to jump through because you have to be classed as like a clinical space with like running water, no soft furnishings. But for the kind of treatments that I offer, you have to obviously let the local council and stuff like that know, but there's no huge hoops that you have to jump through. Yeah. A lot of people here have like cabins in their gardens.
Oh my God, that's the cutest thing I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah. So they'll like build like an outhouse in their garden and their clients come, and yeah, that's huge here.
That is so cute. See, I think someone listening should take that concept and adapt it into the US because I have never heard of somebody doing that here.
Really?
I've never seen it. Of course, I've seen home studios where people just like have an attachment at their house. I have never heard in my damn life in the US somebody having a cabin in their garden. Like, oh, I'm always just amazed by the cultural differences and in the I'm like I want to have the UK's culture. Also, side note, so are you a Taylor Swift fan?
Yeah. I'm not crazy fan.
Yeah.
But I enjoy her music. Yeah.
Are you going to be going to any of her concerts that she just released?
Well, I just went to see Beyonce, and I'm still financially recovering and emotionally recovering. So Taylor I might go. Yeah.
You might go. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I went this year to see her and she released all the dates in out of, everywhere else basically. And I put my name in to go see her in Paris. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sure they don't prioritize people that basically have already seen her, but I want to take a trip over somewhere across the pond to see Miss Taylor Swift.
I've heard that the tickets are cheaper here. Or
I heard too.
Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard too. Well, and also like the tickets. Okay, this is a hot take. I don't think they were that expensive here. I do think they were expensive, but I went to the concert. So I'm like, I feel like that made complete sense. What happened is that people sold them, like resold them for 4 times the price. So like those were so expensive. But I feel like the tickets that came out weren't unjustifiable because Beyonce is pretty similar. Like I feel like I've seen her tickets and I'm like, they're also up there, but it's Beyonce.
I would sell my house, my business, and my brow kit to go and see Beyonce. I am a Beyonce stan.
Was it so much fun?
It was just the best night of my life.
Yeah.
I cried.
Yeah.
I was just like, ah. Yeah, it was worth every single penny.
Yeah, I'm that, but for Taylor Swift. So like when my biggest regret is not spending more money. I'm not kidding. I like wish I had friends that I was with who wanted to not splurge on floor tickets, but had I redone all of it, I would have bought this specific floor ticket. So now I'm like, if I go to Europe and I see it anywhere, right? If I go to the UK, I'm going to buy floor tickets. So help me God. So
yeah.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I know you're so busy and I am just so thankful to have you as a friend.
No, thank you. We've been talking about doing this podcast for the longest time. So I'm so happy that we got to do it.
I know. I'm so happy that we got to do it too. So for everyone that is learning from you and wants to know more, tell them where they can find you and then also where your podcast is at as well.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram. It is _Jamie Long _ because annoyingly somebody already has Jamie Long.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've not posted in like years. I'm like, just let me buy the account. I want my name.
Oh, man.
And then the podcast is What the Pluck _ and you can find the podcast on Instagram. We've also got a TikTok, and season 3 launches this Monday, and we are just launching videos, so we'll be on YouTube as well.
Yay! How
I
exciting. Oh my
know.
gosh.
Scary, but exciting.
I just got on YouTube this season and it you like my cat? And YouTube is another beast, but also very necessary. I feel like you never know where people are coming inward to like find things, view things, all of the learning. So YouTube's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I prefer watching podcasts. And then I was like, I prefer watching podcasts, but my podcast isn't a video podcast. Like, light bulb moment. Come on, we need to
Light bulb
fix
moment.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to meet people that also like to watch podcasts as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
No problems. Thank you so much for having me as well.
Of course.